7:02 a.m. on Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. Call this meeting of Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Watts will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just give you thanks this morning for the many blessings that you give to us each and every day, Father. We just ask that you be with us today and guide and direct us as we go through the business of this county, Father, and be with us as we move forward through this week, Father. We just ask your guidance and your blessings on everything. Father, be with those that serve here in the county, here in our county family as well as abroad, Father. Be with those, protect them as they serve to defend our freedoms, Father. We just ask for wisdom of our leaders, Father, as we go forward and we move in this terrible times, that you just give them wisdom, Father, and let your guidance be with them. Father, we give you thanks again for the many, many wonderful blessings you give to us each and every day. It's in Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join us to the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Everyone may be seated. For the first time in a long time, we do not have any presentations this morning. So it is 10:04, and we will move on to public comment. As a reminder, we ask the comments be kept to 5 minutes or less, and Commissioners Court cannot take action on any items brought up during public comment. Does anyone have any public comments?
Judge, I'd like to comment. Yesterday, Tommy had gave us an article concerning the Veterans Office and the great work they've done and the recognition they've received, and I know that everybody's tremendously proud of them, and I just thought that was a fantastic shout out to them about what they had put in the paper over the work they're doing and how diligent they are about that. So I just wanted to give them recognition this morning.
I also have.
Why they were put in for that awards.
Yep.
I also have something I'd like to discuss. We have it's June, the end of June, almost coming up on July 4th. You know, the temperatures are increasingly hot. The rain has quit. I work closely with the volunteer fire departments, and I've received some calls about them from them. Just wanting to let the public know about all the fire danger, everything that goes along with that. So really, people need to be diligent about what they're doing, where they're shooting off fireworks, where they're entertaining themselves for the year. But also in this conversation, they brought up another fact that they really wanted me to bring to the forefront. We've had a new emergency management coordinator in January of this year. Dwayne back there, Lynn, we've received a lot of compliments from the chiefs. They're wanting me to publicly let everybody know that what a great job he's doing in that position. Lynn has stepped up and been involved more in that position than ever has in the past. The deputies are bragging about them, how much they're getting out working, how much they're being involved with the local fire departments. So that's something that me and the judge we really pushed and worked for when we were trying to find somebody to fill that position. We wanted somebody that could come in and really get along with all the fire departments, bring them together more as a family, and Dwayne has done that. So I just want to
awesome.
I want to commend him for that and address that here publicly, but the chiefs that represent our county wanted to brag on that office, so that's what I did for them. Thank you, Dwayne.
Yeah, Dwayne, thank you.
I have a comment.
Okay.
Raider Nation Rojo Athletics is not done yet. We've got a Olympian to cheer for now.
Do we?
Yeah, Talia Brooks, women's heptathlon, finished third, so she qualified for the Paris Olympics. So.
Wow.
Incredible.
That is a good thing.
What events are in a heptathlon?
A bunch. Javelin, shot put, high jump, long jump, half mile. So
I have no idea.
yeah, it's Yeah.
You just make stuff
No,
up, we'll be
yeah,
good.
sure.
Fencing
Fencing, yeah.
and breakdancing.
Equestrian events, yeah.
That's cool. All right, do we have any other public comments this morning? Okay. It is 10:07 and public comment is closed. So at this time, let's move along to the consent agenda. I have questions on a couple of items. I'll start with item 6, and Commissioner Beecham, you might be the one that's best able to speak to this. I just was wondering if there is any more details on the gyp board arch with oak trim and face at the stairs on the first floor going to the basement.
I can explain what's going on there. If
That's
you're
what I
walking
thought.
if you're walking down the stairs, we used to have the gate, the pull-out gate that stretched across to lock the bottom side off. That's going to be closed off. You can't open it now anyway, when they rebuilt the staircase and everything. So we're gonna wood trim that and build an archway over and to reconnect the ceiling. If you look down there right now, the ceiling's not connected. It's just open, so.
So is it going at the bottom or at
the top.
At the top, okay.
Yeah. So it'll just dress that up to kind of look like everything else in that area, so.
Okay. All right. And then Dwayne or Lynn, I just wanted to ask, we've got this motion to authorize Commissioners Court to sign the resolution authorizing the approval of the Wichita County Mitigation Action Plan. And it's 500 pages, and I'm sure that every person behind this, on this dais has read every single one of them. I did want to ask you if you could just provide a high-level overview, remind us of the process for the plan. And
The plan was brought about from the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. It's part of the Stafford Act. It's to mitigate hazards within the county for citizens within the county, to determine what our hazards are, and then have some plans on how to correct those hazards if it's possible. Its main purpose is to minimize the impact of disasters on our citizens. So I have read it. This is the 4th revision of the plan. We were the number 2 in the state to have one active in 2005. We amended in 2015, 16, and now this year. H2O is the company that did the plan to follow FEMA guidance. So we gave them a list of items during the initial review that needed to be changed. You all should have a copy of what they changed and what pages. All those changes were made. The only one that wasn't listed in the first one is the expansive soil. Because we had a sentence in there under drought, that pipes could break from drought. They decided that that was part of expansive soil and that needed to have 2 mitigation actions. H2O and FEMA and TDM went ahead and reviewed it again and removed that sentence, and now we have no expansive soil. If you look at the definition, there is an expansive soil in Wichita County. So by FEMA's definition. So it has been looked at by several of the cities. It's been looked at by us, or by me. Dwayne is in the same boat. He hadn't looked at it all the way. I recommend we go ahead and approve it, and that way we can start some mitigation actions within the county.
And while it's fresh on your mind for the next time this cycle comes around, were you satisfied with the job H2O did?
Yes, sir, I
throughout the
was.
process? Okay.
I can tell you that in 2012 and 2016, Lee and myself wrote the plan, and FEMA changes it extensively every few years. So this made the process a whole lot easier.
So having this plan complete, does that help us to apply for grants or?
Yes, sir, it helps us apply for grants to mitigate actions such as a shelter grant and that kind of grant that we have applications in for, but pending approval or adoption of the plan.
Very good. A lot of work.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Thank you for heading that.
Glad I didn't
heading
have
it
to do it.
up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on any items on the consent agenda?
Do we need to take any, action on their corrections or
No,
conditions?
those corrections are included in the plan that was presented to us that we're essentially approving the resolution
Okay.
for today. I just asked him to bring those out so that it was easy for us to
Okay,
see at
gotcha.
a high level.
Motion to approve.
I'll
consent.
just, real quick comment on 5. That item was approved when I was not here, so only half the project was approved. That was the original intent, to have 2 different segments of Old State overlaid, one to a thicker overlay because of the heavier truck traffic on that portion of the road. So that's money that was planned for, and set aside for that, so.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Buchanan. Do we have a second?
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Mahler to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we have any questions or comments on the items on the consent agenda or the motion? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, that brings us to general business. Item number 1, public hearing to consider the approval of an amended tax abatement agreement with Panda High Plains Hempgen LLC. It is currently 10:13, and we will start this public hearing. Let me get my notes out here. All right, so as it states, it's an amended abatement agreement. This is not a new agreement. This court approved and passed the original agreement back in September, I believe, of 2020. I'm going to just introduce a few things, and then if we've got questions. We've got a couple folks from Panda here that'll be happy to help. Lisa Stevens Music from our appraisal district is here as well. She can answer any questions if we have them. It's pretty straightforward. This modification does not offer any new incentives or make changes to the incentive structure that was originally approved, but it pushes back the time frames for when the abatement kicks in. So originally the abatement would have started in the 2021 tax year and then gone 10 years from then, as long as the capital investment commitments and the employment commitments were met. This, due to the economic impact of COVID, some other factors, those commitments weren't able to be met at those time gates, and therefore an abatement was never done for Panda up to this point. They've met those capital and employment commitments now, and so this modified agreement would just push back the start date of the abatement essentially 3 years. It remains a 70% abatement on M&O taxes for the full 10 years. One other change, the capital investment requirement in the original agreement was 45 million, 100? No, it's 55 million. Excuse me. And now it's down to 44 in this version. And then the employment commitment thresholds, one of the years, it's still 50 full-time employees after 5 years, but stair-stepped it in year 4, whereas the original agreement had it moving to 50 in year 4. And then
And the tax abatement calls on that employment arm of it as
It
well.
does. It does. So, just to restate, is the original abatement never started, and therefore the clock didn't start on the abatement. This starts the clock on the 2024 tax year, starts the abatement, and moves forward for 10 years from the 2024 tax year.
So to be clear, we've been collecting the full amount of taxes owed up until this point.
Correct.
On business personal property.
Yeah.
Judge, just a little bit of explanation. This has been real interesting to follow, and I have been following it because I think it's a tremendous move forward for this area. When industrial hemp got approved by the Texas legislature, we were starting with a blank page. We didn't have people to grow it. We didn't have the ginning equipment on place to gin it. We didn't have a way to, there was no, it was a blank page. They started doing some research out west, but it has been a real fight for the folks at Panda to get this thing up and rolling. It's like one of those, well, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, we can't gin it if we haven't raised it. We can't raise it till we figure out what varieties to go. But those guys have jumped on this thing and moved it forward, and they're ginning industrial hemp today, which is incredible. We were there for the ribbon cutting a few weeks ago. That's an incredible facility. I'm not talking about something that was wired together. That thing is state of the art, and they are running. And one of the things that everybody needs to know, this is an incredible product. And if we can get our acres to continue to grow and get enough to feed, and they're reaching out to several states to have enough product to do. They've done their homework on this. We are going to have spin-off businesses come to this area that are gonna take advantage of that. And what is so neat about that thing, not one thing goes out of that plant in the trash dumpster. Every bit of that plant is utilized in some fashion. And there's not very many manufacturing processes that can say that. It's a tremendous effort. If you ever get a chance to go and walk through it, you should. It is state of the art, and it is well done. We're excited about the project, and I mean, we need to help these guys get this thing going. And there's acreage being grown. The crop looks good up in Oklahoma. I talked to several producers that are doing it. We're gonna learn how to do this. We're still a learning curve. But when we get there, this is gonna be a tremendous rotation crop for the rolling plains of Texas. And this is industrial hemp headquarters in Texas and actually the United States right now. So it puts us on the map, and it's been a long fight, and those guys have had to fight it tooth and nail, but it's here and it's working. And we need this to be successful. We really do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a huge, huge part of our economy.
Well, and then, I mean, as y'all know, this isn't a new abatement agreement, but as we talk
No.
all the time, the whole point of abatement agreements is to serve as an incentive to bring new industry and new employers into the area. It helps build our tax base, that helps reduce everyone's taxes who already live here and work here. And then, and like you were saying, Commissioner Mahler, for something like this that's hopefully a spur to a number of other industries.
The
in
interest is
conjunction
there.
with it.
The interest is out there.
This is an unusual opportunity.
It is.
So, I'll invite the guys up from Panda, that if you want to add anything to that, or if y'all have got questions for them. I think everyone's pretty well familiar with y'all and your operations, and it's an exciting time, I think, for y'all.
Yeah, I'm Scott Evans, Chief Operating Officer there, Commissioner Mahler. I mean, there's not much for me to say. You summarized things very well. This is an ambitious project that we took on about 4 years ago. And as the judge said, this is nothing new. Essentially, it's just accounting for the delays we had fighting volatile financial markets, working through COVID, getting all this equipment over from Europe, getting it installed, getting those bag houses built in the heat of summer. So we had a long road, had to fight tooth and nail, but the agriculture's there. We're harvesting today, actually, just across the border in Oklahoma, about 2,000 acres. The Wagner Ranch's got, I think, 2,400 acres. It's looking pretty good. So we put a lot of time and money into this, and we're finally there. Like Mr. Mahler said, we're ginning today. We've been running for about 3 months now and continue to scale up and looking to bring on a second shift here in the coming months. So, like I said, you summarized it great. Any questions you guys have, let me know.
One of the things that set us back is that the extension and research and of things in Texas, they couldn't even mention it until the legislature approved it because it was on the no-no list and they couldn't do it. So, you know, we would love to have a prior 10 years of research, and we're gonna get that, but we're having to do it after the fact, and that's one of the things that slowed it down. But we're learning more each and every day, and we'll get there, and it's gonna be a good program.
Old fashioned way, learn as you go.
You all absolutely do. You absolutely do.
Anyone have any questions for Scott? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, do we have anyone in the audience who would like to make a comment during this public hearing? Okay, then it is 10:22, and this public hearing is over. That takes us to item number 2 on general business. Consider and take action to approve the amended tax abatement agreement with Panda High Plains Hemp Gen LLC. Before we do take action on that, I do want to say one more thing. I just want to give a shout out and say thank you to Lisa for helping, because the appraisal district are the ones who are going to be boots on the ground and implementing this along with Panda. And so I asked her at the beginning of this process just to provide comment, feedback, places where we could make sure that we were just doing everything the way we needed to get it done to make sure we were in a good space. So Lisa, thank you. And with that,
Judge, I just want to make sure I'm clear. We have a 70% straight across agreement
On
for
M&O.
10 years on M&O only.
M&O.
INS and Road and Bridge is cut out
Cut
of
out.
that.
yes, that's correct.
So, and that's the basic of it right there.
Yep,
Okay.
70% M&O, only 10 years.
Okay.
I would make the motion to approve the amended tax abatement.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Mahler, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve the amended tax abatement agreement with Panda High Plains Hemp Gen LLC. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the June 18, 2024 regular session.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve and ratify the minutes. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Item number 4, review and approve the regular bills for payment. Verify payroll taxes have been filed. Norfolk County Treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically, unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the Treasurer's office.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve, verify, and disperse. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item itself? All right, motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. I will say this. We understand if folks have business they have to get back to and don't want to stay for the riveting rest of Commissioner's Court. So that's just a general statement I'll throw out there for folks. Item number 5, receive Wichita County Treasury Report for May 2024. Mr. Jones, the mic is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I forgot to bring signature sheets, so I'll have to bring them up later.
You know where to find us.
Okay, so May, as we all know, was a little bit of an adventure at the first couple weeks of May with our computer issues. And I wanted to point out before going into the rest of this that even with everything shut down and all of us scrambling to try and figure things out, there were several people over in the auditor's office that were up there. Well, there was hardly anybody able to do anything, and we all worked together, and they figured out an amazing workaround to be able to get checks printed, even though everything was all messed up. So even with the delays and stuff that we had, we were still able to get checks out on time. And that was some pretty interesting computer work without computers. So they did a great job over there. Interesting computer work without computers. So.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of anything interesting that we did. Again, there's a lot we couldn't do, but we did have, let's see, my notes say, the biggest thing going out of our checking accounts was payroll. We had 3 payroll periods in May, so that one's going to be a little bit bigger than usual. We had some permanent improvement pay go out. Our jail fund is down to $67,000, so we're finally spending that off. which is good because that needs to go out pretty soon. And then our A and B accounts on page 2, you can see we made $15,700 interest. Moving on, go ahead.
Remind me again why our cash balance is lagging this year from last year?
Honestly, we just haven't had as much come in, but it's,
Is it that, or have we spent off?
we've been spending off a bunch of the ARPA too, and that's one of the big
That's what I
things.
wondered. Is it ARPA and like the jail fund?
Yeah, it's those stuff that is a set amount that doesn't have revenue coming in that we're spending off.
It's not that we're not collecting the same, or roughly the same amounts? that we
No,
have in the
we're
past?
collecting just fine, and it's been looking good.
Okay.
It's a natural
It's
thing,
actually, we're spending funds that have been set aside for years, and
Yes.
that's reflecting on this report.
and it's supposed to go out, and we're,
Okay, that's
yeah.
what I was thinking it was, but that's one clarification.
Mhm. Makes that a lot easier to see, and
Yeah.
it's nice to see that go out, because that means we're doing stuff for the community we're supposed to be doing with it.
And it's very steady, almost exactly mirroring last year.
Yeah, the trend lines look good.
Yeah, and I mean, there's $13.6 million still in the ARPA fund, so expect to see that trend continue
Yeah.
through the end of '26, mostly through '25,
So
but,
we'll should see a similar line next
Mhm.
year, just below this one.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna follow the same trend, it looks
Right.
like,
Okay.
which is really, as a math teacher, I love it when the numbers work correctly. So,
Okay.
the next one, our investment pools, we still have a good bit in Tex Pool, and then we've got our new Texas Class accounts, and total up to $283,000 in interest we made off of those two investment pools just in May. So those are fun numbers to look at. We already talked about our trend. We went down 2.8, or almost 2.9 million between May 1st and May 31st, which is what it's supposed to be doing.
Actually, the cash balances, although they're trailing 23 a little, they're quite a bit better than 22.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
a lot better than 22. 22 was an odd year for most people.
all right.
So,
And again, I would say, yeah, sorry, I'm getting a little ahead, but you're putting the general fund major expenditures chart like that
mhm.
is a huge, I appreciate it, because it does help us see, and it's not a surprise to anyone up here, but we know what our two big expenses are, which is right now construction and taking care of jail and the inmates specifically
Mhm.
out there. And
That's
I mean,
other than payroll, which I didn't put
right,
payroll
right,
on here, but
right.
yeah, that's where most of it goes. And I think I actually, yeah, it's about 890,000 went to jail. Oops. Between, well, no, that included permanent improvement, sorry.
Yeah. Nearly 500,000.
460, yeah, almost 500,000 went to jail. And again, with the problems we had, there were a lot of invoices that we weren't able to get into the system to print. So that's why a lot of the expenditures for precincts and stuff are a little bit lower than usual, just because they weren't there. And they've all been caught up now, but it just took us a little while to get those invoices entered. Long-term debt, nothing has changed because we haven't had any payments. We won't have another payment until September. So that one I don't have to update that one. That's pretty much it. Is there any questions on it?
Looks good.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does. We have any questions or comments on the Treasury report?
This is a good format. It's very easy to follow and look at.
That's my goal, yeah.
Appreciate that.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. Sure. All right. He's
No, it's not on here.
He's gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I had it sitting on my desk right next to the stack of these papers, and I didn't grab it.
All right, no action taken on that. So that brings us to item number 6. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to lease or purchase, but lease 2 vehicles for the Emergency Management Office through Enterprise Fleet Management. I'm going to introduce this and then I'll ask Dwayne to come up and speak a little bit about it. But so he approached me with the idea of replacing the emergency management SUVs with pickups, better suited for their purposes, and SUVs could be repurposed to other departments that need those specific vehicles, and replace them with cheaper, relatively, pickups. You know what? I'll ask Dwayne. I'll ask him to come up and he can give more information about the request, and then I'll go through some of the details.
Good morning, Judge,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Little back history right quick of this, how this conversation got started. Back, I believe it was in January, February, when we approached Enterprise about looking at a lease program for the county vehicles, for the sheriff's office, the constables, everybody that had the vehicles. I was approached by Nick Hardwick, the Enterprise guy that's we're dealing with, that called me and asked me that we would probably be getting vehicles to replace, and he took a list of all the vehicles that would be replaced and all the entities. So I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, let's start talking about it. I didn't know where we were going to go on this. So he asked me in that conversation that we had, would you like a pickup or an SUV? I said, well, I didn't know we had a choice if we were going to do it. And he said, well, yeah, that's two options that we can have. I said, well, I'd rather have pickups for our office because we have the trailers. And my vision of taking the office was a little different than my predecessors. And he also had a sheriff's office Tahoe that, since he was a deputy, was able to perform deputy duties if he had to do that. So the SUV is a good vehicle for certain criteria when you have a vision. But my vision was to, obviously, like Commissioner Fincan has said, we're getting out of the office more. We're going and we're assisting volunteer fire departments. We're getting off the road. We're going, helping, providing more services to those fire departments and stuff. And there's times when I've taken my Tahoe in places that, I hate to say it probably shouldn't have went, but getting up there to try to see if there's any structures in danger, or if we're needing to go look at the side of a fire where the other incident commanders can't see. And also with the floodwaters, we got out in that and was helping with the flooding back in a few months ago that we had to deal with. So a higher profile vehicle would be better for our office, 4-wheel drive, able to put our gear in the back, all of our equipment, haul trailers around if we have to leave the office and we need to grab a trailer to take for an incident or whatever. Myself or Lynn can grab those as we're going along. Our trailers, commissioners have seen them, judges probably seen some of them, they're heavier. The SUVs, it would be a strain on pulling those. So in conversations after a couple of commissioners court meetings, I had a visit with the sheriff and asked him, this Tahoe that I have is, sheriff, they're ready to put it on the street and use it. And that was the whole reason why I brought it up initially, was to repurpose a 2019 Tahoe that has 47,000 miles. The pros and the cons for me having that, the pros going to the sheriff's office and them utilizing that is a lot more than me utilizing it. Yeah, it's a vehicle for me to get around to do my job, but it's also the benefits that the sheriff's office would get by repurposing this to them would be bare minimum money to get back into that. And I don't know if I'm right or not, but Chief McFerrin looked at it, and I think it's gonna take bare minimum money to get that ready, and they could probably use it right now, take my stuff out of it, and then let them start using it out on the streets. So that was the reasoning behind that, was to repurpose some vehicles, and like Lynn's vehicle's a 2013 with a little over 107,000 miles on it. Is it a good vehicle? Yeah, it's still in pretty good shape, but as we know, vehicles will start wearing out in time. And with the way we're gonna start running, like I said, Lynn's getting out of the office. He's assisted on a couple of fires and done a very good job with those. So being able to get him a vehicle that's higher clearance, being able to get around and getting him a vehicle also would be there, so.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
So is Lynn's 2013, is that a Tahoe as well?
No, it's a Ford Expedition.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So do we know what the plan is if the court approves purchase these two new vehicles. What's the plan for the Expedition?
Well, I hate to put Commissioner Fincan on the spot, but there's maybe a reason or a purpose that we could repurpose that to to his wife's office to utilize, or there may be another purpose if somebody has any ideas where they want to repurpose it to be able to utilize it in the county, so.
And in talking with Enterprise, did they given any indication of how much it could get if we were to sell it again?
They haven't said. We were just gonna try to figure it out of how much there was, but Nick is on the phone monitoring if we had any questions for him, so.
And Nick would be able to tell you pretty
Pretty,
quick what the current value of that vehicle.
yes, sir.
Yeah. And that's not a decision that has to be made today. I was just curious. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
And on the, there's a question, I'm sure, in here about the radios in here, that, of how much it's gonna be. I talked to Chief McFerrin on this and Lieutenant Wilson, when they looked at the vehicle. They would like to keep the APX 8500 radio in there. That's the radios that they're looking at going at anyway. Instead of taking that radio out of that Tahoe, getting Dwayne at Mobile Phone to repurpose those back in this vehicle if we get it, and then putting another one back in it, we were just gonna leave that radio in there and then get a new radio for that and then repurpose the two APX 4500 and the 7500 that's in my Tahoe now, along with the 8500. Repurpose the 4500 and the 7500 into the pickup, and then do the same thing with Lynn's, take his two radios, put them in his vehicle if he gets it, that he has in his, and then get an 8500 for his also. So that's where the $8,500 is coming from for the radios apiece. That's how much they cost, but the repurposing of them there would be the 1100 or 1200, whatever it was,
So
for mobile phone.
an 8500 would be going in to the new pickup, or would be going into the new pickup for Lynn,
And mine also.
and an 8500 would be, where are the 4500s and the 7500s going?
Into the pickup also. That
Oh.
we have three radios in our
Okay.
vehicles. I have a 4500, a 7500, and an
What's the
8500.
purpose of that, Dwayne?
What you're doing is the radios have different frequencies and different bands and different single band, dual band, and I can't get into explain every single thing there is because I'm not a radio guy. But the purpose is the state interoperability that for the 8500s, and also being able to talk. There's working on a plan now to hopefully be able to get radio frequencies from the city PD and city fire departments to where we can, the 7-800 system, where we can put those in those radios there. And also we have communications with Shepherd. And then also the state interoperability radio frequency plan is supposed to be for everybody to have those channels. If, like, say, entities come from down south to come help us, then we can communicate with those, get those in our bands or our radios, and be able to communicate with those entities. So we're not trying to figure out, well, I don't have this radio channel, so I can't talk to them, or this radio channel can't talk to these people.
What
So
do
that's-
Forest Service guys use?
Do what?
What do the Forest Service guys use, do you know?
I'm not for sure on those, but those are frequencies that we can get put in to our radios and program them in
Yeah.
and communicate with those guys, so.
Dwayne, do you need 3/4 ton trucks or half-ton trucks?
Well, I need a 3/4 ton for me, a long bed,
That's what I was thinking.
and then, but the half ton for Lynn, because there may be times when he's not pulling in the trailer as much. And I've also got the F550 that we have the gooseneck in, and that's already set up for those heavier trailers.
Right.
And sometimes you don't need a 3/4 ton pickup to pull a 16-foot or an 18-foot car hauler trailer that we have for our forklift, pallets of water, whatever we need. So we have different vehicles for different 3/4 ton, 1 ton, 1.5 ton, and then a half ton. So sometimes you don't need a big pickup to pull a smaller trailer, so.
Makes sense.
Go ahead and stay there for a second, just in case there's
Okay.
other questions. And so on the money side of this, pickups themselves, the half ton would be 48,682, 3/4 tons 54,489. But the equipment installed, the radios, the package to the camper shell, for lack of a better term, I'm not sure what the actual, but for the equipment package to fully enable them to be able to go wherever they need to go. All of that ends up adding another about 33,000 per vehicle onto the cost. So you end up with a total of 78,800 for the half ton and 84,900 for the 3/4 ton.
And that's got the shells over the back of them,
Yes, sir.
so kind of keep you in the dry.
Yes, sir. And two, we'll haul drones and we'll haul equipment back there, whatever we need, and have some. The radios that we have now have a dual head on them, they call them, so you can have one up front and you can go in the back and monitor, lift the back up and pull your slide out tray with your map, and that way you dry erase board on there and you can run command or assist the incident commander and have radios back there where you can monitor and change channels.
Oh, okay.
Is how our Tahoes are set up now, and our SUVs are set up now, and that was previous before I got in there, so
Okay.
I was wanting just to take it and move this setup from the Tahoe and the Expedition over to these pickups. And it gets our equipment, like Lynn and I both volunteer on fire departments, and then we help out with that, and then we have gear that's in there, and there's a lot of stuff that's in our back seats that is just full of stuff, and we don't have room.
And these
for
are
'em.
double cab, 4-wheel drive?
Yes, sir.
pickups.
Yes, sir, both four-wheel drives. And another reason why it's a little bit higher is taking the 8500 radio that I have. You know, whether I take it out and put it in there and it doesn't cost us any money on that, it's gonna cost the sheriff's office $8,500 plus installation for a radio. So it's, one of us is gonna have to pay for it, and I didn't see the need of taking a perfectly good radio already mounted, taking it out, paying installation,
Right.
and then putting another one in to do the same thing. It doesn't
Yeah,
seem
that makes sense.
I'm
business
sure they'd
savvy to
give you
me.
some money.
Huh?
I'm sure they'd transfer you some money.
I bet they would. And that was the discussion we had, and that's what I told them, if we're just gonna, if they need it and that's what they're going with, we'll just leave it and then we'll just go there. So that's the extra expense on top of the other stuff.
There's not any of that, doesn't cost any money going around out there, I'll tell you,
No, sir.
these days.
And talking with the sheriff and then Chief McFerrin and Lieutenant Wilson, the Defender supplies the packages they use for all of their Tahoes and all their stuff, so that's why we went with them. I didn't get any bids from anybody else other than a guy here in town to do a few other things that we needed for the topper and a couple of lights back there that we needed to, after he put that on. So we just went with the sheriff's recommendations and their recommendations for the Defender supply to do the lighting package, and we all know lights aren't cheap. And
Well, the great news is that Tahoe's already striped. I mean,
it's,
it's probably worth more to us than it is.
well, and
Yeah,
that was the
anyway.
reason why I brought it up, was because the reason why they could repurpose that and still have a vehicle to help out with their situation they're in, and bare minimum money to put it on the street and start utilizing it very quickly.
47,000 is not much mileage in today's
No,
world.
sir, it's not a
so
lot,
That'll
but,
be a usable unit for a long
Several
time.
years.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, and Enterprise did two different proposals. One for a cash option where we pay for everything up front, and that amount would be $163,802.97, which would take us over the $1 million for the 2024 budget year that was put in the budget for vehicle purchases. The other option would be the lease program, where initial charges for the two vehicles would be $33,156, and then we'd end up with a monthly payment if it went to full term for the next 5 years of $2883.27. Now, I will say this about both of those options. Enterprise went ahead and figured in the full maintenance program, and just, I know it's been some time, just as a reminder, that's essentially the prepaid auto maintenance option, and what that includes is all major and minor repairs, all recommended services, so that's oil changes, tune-ups, all maintenance-related towing, all incidental brakes and tires. What is not included in that is oil between changes obviously fuel, insurance-related repairs, obvious neglect or abuse, or motor vehicle safety and emissions inspections. That comes out to about $100 for the half ton a month and about $108 for the 3/4 ton a month. So for $1,200 a year, essentially, we shouldn't have any maintenance charges, because we're essentially prepaying for them with that, if we choose to go with that maintenance program. I look at this, I think Dwayne has made the good case for this is an option, this is a time for us to essentially get 3 vehicles for the price of 2 by repurposing a Tahoe where it's better suited for the sheriff's office who needs vehicles. We talked about that before.
And what's the other vehicle? The
Expedition.
The 2013 Expedition.
2013.
Yes, sir.
You say 107,000.
107,000, a little over 107,000.
But would that not
not-
work
yeah.
in elections as well?
That's what it was saying was one of the options that we could pursue.
Is it striped?
Yes, sir, it's
I
just
thought
like,
it was.
it's
I
just
couldn't
like
remember.
the Tahoe is, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So maybe 4 vehicles for the price of 2, but
And that was the reason because, and like I said, Commissioner Finn Cannon had mentioned it when I brought it up in my budget hearing, was talking about this, and brought it up, and he had mentioned that, and there may be some other offices that could utilize it too if it doesn't go there. I mean, I don't know who those would be, but it might be somebody.
we've talked before too about maybe having a pool vehicle essentially that could be utilized by a number of different departments, and that might be a good place for that as well. In some ways too, this could be the opportunity for, on a very small scale, them being the guinea pigs for us for the maintenance, the full maintenance program. And I'm gonna propose and suggest that we lease the vehicles. And I know that that's been a subject of some passionate discussion on this court before, but allowing us to dip our toes in that water, see how it goes, to see if that's something we might wanna expand later on and actually get.
You'll know a lot more about it.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot
And that
more
would
about
be
it.
a complete department vehicles leased and just a standalone deal, see how it compares to the others. That's
Yep.
I like
that
it.
idea.
Yeah, you'll have some good numbers.
Make the motion that we approve the lease option on both vehicles
With the maintenance, Mark?
with maintenance.
Second.
Y'all need 4-wheel drive.
Do what?
Y'all need 4-wheel drive.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yes,
just-
that's a must.
Yeah, I can't believe y'all running vehicles without 4-wheel drive in the situations y'all get into.
Yeah, it's, there's a lot of pretty desolate areas out in the county where you go where you're, like I said, I've had that Tahoe in some pretty good places, but hopefully
The
nobody
fire
was videoing or
breathing
taking
down on
pictures.
you and-
Yeah, so,
And the esteemed Mr. Dotson over there is the point of contact for the dashboard and everything for that. So
Okay.
everybody's going to be learning on this as we go. But oh, sorry, Commissioner Beecham made the motion. It was seconded by Commissioner Mahler to pursue the lease option for both vehicles with the full maintenance program agreement. And again, I'll just reiterate the numbers on that. That is an initial charge that will come out of I'm asking if this is okay on the motion, that will come out of Department 409 for $33,156.76. And then the monthly payment that would be attributed to the department budget, to 406 for $2883.27 a month.
Yes.
Does that sound okay?
That sounds good.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments or more discussion on the motion or the item? All right. That motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Dwayne, thank you.
thank you, appreciate it.
All right, that takes us to general business item number 7. Receive update on courthouse renovations and county courthouse annexes. Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, if you haven't looked up in the 30th, they've started the ceiling details now. It's, I say it every week, but man, it's looking good. It's really starting to look fantastic, so. Annex coming along, did a lot of wall texturing and painting over the last week. Some of it is gonna have to be redone, 'cause they didn't like the results, so they're gonna come back and redo it until they get it right. But that job's continuing on very well.
Do we have, and again, things happen, not holding to it, do we have an expected ETA for when that first floor, the rest of the tax office project will be completed?
Late summer, early fall.
Okay.
Courthouse project, overall, they put the block wall in down in the jail area. Should be hanging doors today, and get that painted back in, and that should be complete down in that area. So we can start utilizing the holding cells again. That's the big items this week.
All right. Do we have any questions or comments on courthouse renovations?
If
Or
Commissioner Beecham continues to gather samples around, get him a bigger office, he's about full.
I know. Brinkle's gonna come get some of that stuff.
He's got all kinds of samples.
I
in
got
there.
more coming. I didn't go by pick up yesterday.
You're all welcome at any time to come see the county showroom.
Yes, that's exactly
What I'm gonna
right.
do, I'm gonna collect one of everything. We're gonna build Iowa Park with just samples.
There you go.
Oh,
That's the
man.
plan. No tax dollars.
No tax dollars. Excellent.
All made with samples.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? All right. Then at this time, we will go into closed session. It's 10:53. And this closed session is for a briefing and update with the Wichita County Tax Office regarding 2023 collections, delinquency to date, property sales, and recent collection efforts involving the execution of tax warrants, as well as other accounts that have variables or circumstances that could possibly necessitate further collection efforts, including the execution of tax warrants. This meeting is closed pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.0712. If you have not been approved to be in the court for the closed session, please vacate.
Stephen,
Be good, wouldn't it?
All right, it is 11:59 and we are back into open session. There will be no action taken on anything brought up during closed session. And with that, it is still 11:59 and court is adjourned.
Just about 45 seconds till noon. You sure we don't want to do?
Yeah.